6,000 pounds loaded up behind this 24 ZR2 with the 3.0 Duramax diesel. Fuel mileage, it just keeps climbing up. The DEF consumption, 72.5 miles in towing. Our DEF consumption is through the roof. Now let's break this trip down. It was Salt Lake City to Las Vegas for an event called Muscle Cars at the Strip. And then, of course, a return trip back. Now, I did start off with a fresh oil change at 3,000 miles. Full DEF fluid right before leaving. So we will be monitoring all of the DEF fluid consumption. We've got full fuel mileage. We also checked in on oil consumption on how much it used during this towing trip. The car is loaded up on the trailer, and setting the tongue weight with the way-safe hitch was super easy and super handy. Now, the trailer is coming in at about 1,800 pounds. The car, 3,800 pounds. And then we have a set of wheels and tires, which are roughly another 200 pounds. So with everything, all the gear and everything, we're sitting on about 6,000 pounds total behind this truck, which is well under its limit of roughly just over 9,000 pounds. Now, I normally use the way-safe hitch in the middle setting, which is a 2-inch drop, but at this point in time, I got a larger trailer, and it required me to actually slide it up. Now, if I needed to go any higher, I could just flip the hitch over, have more upward travel, which wasn't the case here. We're fully set up. Starting off 3329 is our miles. We got DEF level at 100%. Trailer just loaded up. Can't see very much. I guess you could. 3329. Let's go ahead and set our trip meter here. I guess 17 miles. So we drove 17 miles. That's away from the house. I don't know if I should reset this right now or not. We're going to. All right, reset right there. Official towing start point. And we'll get our miles at the end of the trip when we arrive. Tow haul mode pressed. Exhaust brake on. Let's check our trailer brake. So we're gonna bump it up just a little bit more. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. Let's get on the road. We are on our way to Las Vegas right now. We have an event, Muscle Cars at the Strip. We're taking the Camaro there. And yes, we are towing. We have the Boost Auto tow mirrors on there, so I can see everything behind me. Everything is good and safe. We've gone 25.5 miles and 16 miles per gallon currently. We are going to make a stop at PPE first, because they've got something there that I really want to see, and I know a bunch of people are waiting to see that as well. We'll get into that later, but here we are with the Banks iDash dual stealth pod set up right there. We have the super gauge on the bottom, we have the datamonster on the top, and as you can see, that blinking green light up top means we are recording. So I've got it set up to record 100% of the time that the truck is on. So we'll have all of that data to go back and look into if we see any reason to. But right now it's just smooth sailing. We're hooked up. The way-safe hitch is set up back there. Back to the road. 16 miles per gallon currently. It's been mostly flat roads, so let's not get too excited about that. But we'll continue on. We have 357 miles to go. 4.5 hours of driving. I know we're already started our drive, but I want to reset all of my record distances here, and so I can see what kind of record distances we get while towing the trailer. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. I wanted to video what they were. Alright, we reset all of our best numbers right there. We're set on 25 right now. I like to see 50. Let's see what our best 50 is. So it looks like that doesn't work to my favor here, because it takes the prior 450 miles to see what our number is. So we're gonna have to actually do that on the way back, I guess. I don't know how we'll pull that off. The 450 is not gonna be accurate. The 50 and the 25 will not be accurate either, unless I wait until we've gone 50 miles. All right, we've already surpassed the 50-mile mark, so now we can reset the best MPG numbers, and I'll do that right now. Here we go, all reset for my best. Let's see what we come up with as we continue on. When I was scrolling through, I noticed my DEF level right here. Let's get to it. We already lost a bar. We've gone 53, 54 miles now. We're at 94% on the iDash. chugging it. Our DEF consumption is through the roof. We're already getting warnings. Plummeting like crazy. We're at 92% though. But this is nuts. I don't even think we've gone 100 miles. I'll have to check in just a second. .5 miles in, towing. We already got our DEF warning. That's nuts. Our first stop over here at the Flying J. Got to do our normal checks anytime we stop. Of course, the way safe is still functioning, of course. Strap check, everything's holding on tight. I just noticed they've got the license plates on backwards, so that's supposed to be the right side fender or the left side fender, but it's on the right side. That's funny. We'll have to correct that on our way back. I'm not doing that right now. If we get pulled over, we'll deal with it. About to get back on the 15 South right here, so we're going to go ahead and make this turn. I was going to show the acceleration of the truck with the trailer, but we're downhill, so take that into consideration. Moderate throttle, see how it gets up to speed. No strain at all. Speed limit out here is roughly 80. We're hanging around the 70 to 75 range. You see EGTs didn't really go above 850 on there. Really not much of a load, but if you look ahead, we do have a hill coming up. All right, we're gonna just maintain 70 for this hill because I don't want to gain on that traffic up there. Looks like a nightmare. And then looking in my mirrors, which I can see everything behind me, I see a couple people coming this way, so they're probably going to catch us on this hill. So again, the target is 70. A little bit more throttle to downshift. It's probably going to downshift 1 or 2 more times, but we'll see how it takes this hill. Yep, there it goes. I didn't do anything to do that. We are losing a little bit of speed right now, so I'm going to give a little more throttle. Downshift again. Like I said, we want to maintain 70 is what my target is for this. You can see our EGTs sitting at 995. We're at 1,000 right now. Charge air cooler 1 right there, 273, with 2 being at 84. I gotta get over. This guy's stopped right there. Oh, that was a Duramax. That was an LB7. Alright, get back over into the slow lane, trying to maintain 70. We got an upshift right there, so it's feeling pretty confident right now. We're still climbing up this grade. I didn't see a sign as to how big of a grade this is, but it's a pretty steep one. Catching up to this truck, but again, our EGT is sitting at 1067. Charge air cooler is doing work right now because we got 277 inlet, 93 outlet, so it's really cooling as needed. Ambient temp sitting on 39 degrees, 69 miles an hour. Trans temp has been nice this whole time. Removing those front shutters really made a huge difference for those temps. Also, my engine coolant temp, 172 with engine oil temp, sitting at 219, 221 right now. We are maintaining the 70. I have not adjusted the pedal. I'm light on the pedal right now. 1100 EGTs. Everything is in control. DEF level sitting at 90%. We did just stop, so I should get a notification here pretty soon because we got one earlier about our DEF consumption. I don't know if you noticed the downshift there. That was not initiated by me as far as I know. Looking into the giant mirrors right there, we can see everything behind us, safe to get over. Got an upshift right there, 990. Coming up to the summit of the incline. People were eyeballing me here on YouTube, Wagoneer. All right, our lane's ending. Truck's in the way. I could tell that because I could see them in my mirror. They got over. They knew who we were. Charge air cooler temp. We just now hit 100 degrees. I'm out of throttle. We are coasting downhill, sitting pretty good. 187 trans temp, 219 engine oil temp, engine coolant temp, 187. I think we've got Popo Mans behind us. I want to point out my soot level and DPF regen percent right there on the Bake's iDash datamonster up on top. We're sitting on 35% for each right now. If you've noticed, when we first started this trip, those numbers were higher. I believe they were 52% going off of memory. And those dropped because our EGTs actually have been higher while towing the trailer. So that's helping with the regen because it's essentially doing a regen or a partial regen while you're towing, especially up those grades like that where the temperatures are hitting 1200 degrees. That temperature is going into the exhaust and burning off that soot in there. So that's what's bringing our percentages down. And we've got a text message. I am not filming and driving at the same time. This is a passenger doing the filming. We're on another, this is a small grade. This really isn't much, but I wanted to point out one thing that I did change my boost pressure on the upper gauge to now read which gear I'm in. Now you'll see that lock symbol right next to it. That means the converter is locked. Now I haven't seen it unlocked, so I don't know if the lock disappears or if it actually unlocks. We'll definitely watch out for that. But as you can see, we were in 10th gear at the start of this grade, and we are now in 8th. So there's our 9th gear, just upshifted. So that should be pretty neat to watch whenever we go up another steep grade, which should be coming up pretty soon because we just go up and down throughout here. We're on a grade right now. We've dropped down to 7th gear. I wish we had a way to see what our altitude was. If I come across a sign, I'll call it out because I don't think the camera will pick it up. But here we are on this steady climb up. It's a decent grade. 7th gear, 964 degrees on EGT 1. Charge air cooler 1 inlet is 273. And that cooler is really working right now, 84% or 84 degrees Fahrenheit on the outlet of it, 86. RPM sitting at a good steady 2,500 RPMs. I think that's a good safe spot right there because it's able to just maintain speed while climbing. Look at our soot level. It's continued to go down. We're down to 25% right now. The regen percent sitting on 36%. Doing pretty good on that. No regens to worry about right now. All of our temperatures are in check. Engine coolant temp sitting at 178. That's been really nice this whole trip so far. Engine oil temp 221. Same thing can be said about that. That trans temp makes me very happy because this truck, if you followed any of my previous videos, then you know it's not been the greatest as far as trans temp goes. I don't think that there's an issue. I just don't feel comfortable with how high the trans temps have been on normal driving. So when towing, to see this because of those shutters being removed up front, I'm definitely happy with that. It's not climbing up any higher. Still maintaining 7th gear. 2,500 RPM is really the sweet spot. This definitely, it just feels good. I can give it more throttle and we can definitely climb up quicker, but there's no need for that. We're up into the snowy snows section right now. We're gonna have a decent decline right after this. There's a curve around here and then we'll decline and coast down. You can see our best 50-mile fuel mileage has been, we're sitting on 15.2 right now. 16.8 total is our best for the towing trip. I think close to 17 miles per gallon is pretty darn good. The trailer weight, I did ask, it's coming in at 1,800 pounds. I have a set of wheels and tires. Those are roughly 60 pounds each, so times 4, 240. So we got 2,000 pounds plus the car sitting at 3,800. We're 5,800 pounds with that, so we're probably pulling roughly 6,000 pounds total after you factor in the cooler and luggage and everything back there, not counting passengers. And here's our decline right here. We're coasting down, 8th gear. Have not had my DEF warning indicator pop up anymore, so I think it got itself figured out. It's no longer dumping, but we have used 15% of the DEF fluid, and I don't know how many miles we've gone so far, but we're sitting on 3468. So whatever I started with, I think that's roughly 150 miles, maybe 160 miles. This grade's actually steeper than the previous ones, and I should have recorded at the beginning of it, but here we are on our temps, still looking good, 1,052. Now I bring up charge air cooler 2 temperature a lot because that's out of the charge air cooler and going into the intake manifold. Now, if that's above, I believe the number is 142 degrees, that's where the engine starts to derate itself to keep the temperatures down. So that's why I closely monitor that, and we've gone nowhere near that, which is super awesome. And here we are at the summit of the climb right there. Do that for you. You just can't beat this drive. This is one of the best drives when towing. Yes, you got to deal with the hills, but there's not many people on the road. It is a Thursday though, so that's understandable. But look how cool that looks. All right, so I just found out the altitude of that summit we were just on, 6,180 feet. So, and anybody that was curious on that, oh dear golly. Check out that soot level. Once again, we're on another grade. We're hitting 1,000 degrees EGT, so that exhaust is hot, but that soot level percent right there, 14, just continues to drop down as we pump more heat into that exhaust. This just goes to show how much the heat actually helps. So getting out and driving these trucks and really putting them to work is something that you do want to do every once in a while. It's definitely helping this one out right now. Just drove past the sign, 6,600 feet is how high up we are, and we got hit with a huge wind gust. So I'm wondering how windy it is outside, if it's full-time windy or if it's just that gust, and how that's going to affect our fuel mileage. But we should be nearing the end of the grades pretty soon. We're roughly 3 hours away from our destination, 230 miles to go. Well, I'm going to hold on to the camera until, the passenger is going to hold on to the camera until we get to this little point right here, because this might be a cool view. Let's do a boost auto mirror check in the back there. Those are the people that are losing. And here's our snowy. Oh, we're going too fast. Didn't mean to go that fast. Let's tap the brake and get that exhaust brake going. Let's see how it slows us down on here, if anything. So it should be activated because I touched the brake. And we're gaining speed, so it's doing absolutely nothing for me right now. Let's grab a little bit more brake. There we go, there's our downshift. And it's still doing absolutely nothing for us. That's tremendous. A little more brake. Maybe it didn't get the signal. There we go. There we go. All right, so it just took third time's a charm. That's it right there. You can hear the transmission downshifting more so. We're in 6th gear, holding those RPMs. Well, not anymore. Now we're in 7th. But it did slow us down that time. It just took the transmission to help us. All right, we're getting DEF warnings. Once again, we're down to DEF range 297 miles remaining, showing 82%. I think we've got an issue there. And I really hope this isn't going to speed limit me, because that would be a huge issue while we're towing. As you can see, we are still 220 miles away from our destination. And And at that point in time, I will be topping this off, filling it up. We'll see what it takes. It's probably going to take at least 3 gallons of DEF fluid, but for this warning to keep popping up like this, we had 999 pop up, I don't know, 50 miles ago. So we got something going on here. I have to admire the views, the sights, the views. It is March, mid-March right now, and we still have snow out here. All right, we got something funny about to take place here. 27.9 was my previous best, not towing, just regular driving, and we are towing, and we're on the 50-mile range. We just crossed the 28.0 mile per gallon, so we're actually getting better fuel mileage over a 50-mile span than I was on my normal driving. That's crazy. Now, I know there's a lot to do with downhills, but we also had uphills in there, so keep that in mind. But it just keeps climbing up because, yeah, we're also only going 55 miles an hour right now. But ignore that part. We just beat that. I don't remember what my 25 was, but let's see what the current 25 is. 35.0. Wow. Okay. Things are looking good. Currently no more DEF issues popping up, but give it time and we may have more. Entering into Arizona, we are bringing our high fuel efficiency numbers. Just got passed by a Mustang. Oh, here comes a Mach 1. Would you look at that? We could look into the boost auto mirror to see this Mach 1 coming up. I like the Mach 1s. Oh, don't worry, I got this. It looks like they got a tumbleweed to the front. That's pretty cool. They're gonna look at us. I don't want them to know that I was filming them. I was not videoing it.
He just thumbed up.
We got a thumbs up. And I hid the camera because I was embarrassed that I got busted. That's pretty cool. That's funny. What are the chances? What a nice guy. All right, first stop. We're not going to check this in on the Fuelie app, but let's go through. What do we got? We're going to fill this up, but we're 315.2 miles, 18.2 miles per gallon, 68.6 average mile per hour. DEF level is 77%. Not sure if I'm going to fill it up right now or not. Maybe. All right, so miles are 3644. Okay, so the fill up was 18.730 gallons, $4.19. Climbing up a grade, but it's been awfully windy, so I really couldn't video anything, but we just got a little clearing of wind. But check out those temperatures. We're just within keeping it cool enough on the intake air temp right there. Going 60 miles an hour up that hill, and the wind is horrendous. But there's a check-in on the temperatures. This was a pretty big grade. Right here, as you can see, we're passing some trucks that couldn't do it. There's a rest stop right there just for this reason. We're gonna go ahead and safely get over. Charge air cooler temp, inlet temp was over 300 degrees. That's not very common that you see that. And 120-ish was our max charge air cooler too. It is data logging, so we will have this on a log, and we'll have to check it out to see what temperatures we actually got during that hill. All right, we're driving into a headwind as well as like a side wind. It's been mega windy, but you can see these temps right here, nearly 300 degrees. It's been like that for quite some time. The EGT1 temp sensor reading high 900s for the majority of the time. Right now we're actually less wind right now. I could feel the difference. A few miles away from PPE, we drove past the racetrack already. Show off these mirrors a little bit more. I've been liking it. I could see the trailer, I could see the car, I could see the cars next to me. The blind area right there, blind spot area with the lower mirror. Appreciating that. It's our next exit right up here. Then we'll be at PPE to check out something coming soon. Super excited to see this and whatever else they're working on in there. Here we are outside of PPE headquarters. We just saw the catch can. I'm gonna get into that. It's pretty sweet, the setup that they've got. But here we are. It's been windy. The whole trip has been wind nonstop. We're towing with this. Charge air cooler was really working it. Very happy to have that on there. Just dropped off the trailer. We are exiting the track. Got our def warning per usual. Look at that, 29.3 was our best 50 mpg. Distance right there, 25. 35 mpg was our best on a 25-mile average. Those are some crazy numbers, but we're at 37.27 was our end miles. And let's get over to what it says for, there's our def fluid showing 71% up top on the Banks iDash. Now let's get to right there, 399 miles, total distance 17.9 miles per gallon, 62.6 miles per hour was our average. That's pretty darn cool. 17.9 mpg towing, and we were towing into a wind. This is nuts. So we're heading back to the hotel right now, and we'll continue this in a bit. Just hit regen, DPF regen percentage, hit 100%. My soot level was not at 100%. I know that, but I don't recall what the number was right before it did go. We're not too far from the track, so we won't be able to complete this regen, but this is our very first regen on the trip. And I assume this will be the last on our trip. We're at 67% on our def level. We've used quite a bit. We are rolling onto the track. We can see that my DPF regen is still active. We're idling through. You can smell it. I'm sure everybody I'm driving past smells it. But I'm not going to complete this regen like I tell everybody that I prefer to do. Check these guys out. There's a lot of cool stuff out here. I'm hoping to go see some drag racing today. We're on day 3. I haven't seen any drag racing. We've heard it. It's been rainy. But anyway, back to the regen. As you can see, my soot level is dropping, and we're not going to be able to complete this regen. So when I back up, I'm just going to let this idle for a few minutes, kind of bring the temperatures down because it's cooking, and I don't want to just shut it down. The system is designed to where that you can just shut it down, but I prefer not to, because I don't like it when something is super duper hot and then it just goes immediately cold. I gotta go move some cones. We have our designated parking area. You can see it's already shut itself down because I put it in park, and that will automatically disable it, but now it still needs to cool itself down, so I'm just going to give it a few minutes to idle down. So you can see our EGT1 is down. This is where it would be nice to see EGT3 to see what the temperature of the DPF actually is right now. And actually, look at that, we got down to 30%, 29%. So when I go to restart this, it may not even be in regen anymore. So maybe we got enough. I just shut it down. Here's what our temps were at. I sat and ate a sandwich because it's breakfast time. And it's race day. Let's go do day 3. Just filled up. 3871 is the current miles. We are in Las Vegas. We just left the track, filled up $53.61, 12.470 gallons of diesel fuel, and our def range is sitting on 1213, 66% def level. We are in regen once we start going again, so we're going to complete this regen. We are not towing currently, just filling up, but we're going to grab the car and the trailer tomorrow morning. All right, leaving the hotel. This is our Monday return trip, 3882 miles. No trailer right now. We're on our way to the track to get the trailer. Def range 1191 just went up, sitting on 67%. I did get some def fluid. We're gonna fill this up right before we leave and see how this reacts to that. Once I started using all that def, every time I start up the truck, it gives me this notification of how many miles I have remaining. Def range 1213 miles. I am going to top this off before we go. We'll discuss that in just a minute, but I wanted to show this def range. Now this won't show up for any other time except for whenever it's scared that you're going to run out of def fluid. So if you don't have this on your truck, that's because you haven't run it low enough or towing hasn't freaked out the system enough. All right, so with all the warnings going on and everything, I decided to stop and buy some blue def right here. The pump did not have it at the pump. Obviously, that's the cheapest way to go. Now, this was $30-something. I'll have to find the receipt, but I believe it was $31 for this. And we're not going to use all of it. It's 2.5 gallons. But I know a lot of people ask about Blue Def Platinum. I think it's a waste of money. However, let's actually test it out. And while it's not scientific by any means, it is, we were chugging the Def, and we'll see if this actually makes any difference. I think it's going to chug the Def no matter what brand you use. It just says that it maintains optimum fuel economy, which I think is a lie. It saves money on costly repairs, which I think is a lie because it's all the same, 32.5%, and sustains the life of your SCR system, which, yeah, I think all Def that's not set out in the sun. You don't want this left out in the sunlight. You don't want any old stuff, so you're going to want to check the dates on it, which I don't know the exact dates or the date codes on this one, but we're not going to get into that right now. We're going to use this. I do think I grossly overpaid for something that just says platinum on there, and there's really not any difference that's going to help me on my truck. Let's pour it in. All right, we are definitely full. All right, it's going to go in the truck. Let's see how much we actually used. Easily 2 gallons, just over 2 gallons used right there. Definitely less than half a gallon left. Let's throw this in the truck so it's not in direct sunlight and move on. All right, here's our Def receipt. It is $31.53 total, $29.09 for that 2.5 gallon Blue Def Platinum. All right, so it noticed that we filled up with Def because this is reading 94%, but we know that's at 100% because I just overflowed it out the side. We'll double check that in a moment, but we no longer have our warning indicator coming on, so it noticed. I wonder how much Def fluid you really need to put in there for it to notice that you made a change, and maybe that will get it to reset itself quicker. Don't know, but let's actually see what this is reading now. Almost full on the Def fluid level. We're gonna spin around and go grab the car. All right, it's been a few days since I've been shown this, but let's see if we can pull this off. So now we wanna roll our excess like so. All right, then we wanna go under. I went under, made a loop like that. All right, now I'm gonna twist. And this twisting is going to spin this in like this. I'm probably butchering this, but you're gonna be able to get the idea. I would go try to find a YouTube video on somebody that's doing this properly. But this is how I was shown. Never seen it this way before. And if done right, it'll stay put. The more you twist it, the more it's pulling it in. I like it. All right, we are hooked up onto the trailer. I crisscrossed the back. I know everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people ask, how do you set this up on the Camaro? Now I just crisscrossed the back right there. And then the fronts are just straight forward. I have straps like this that are around lower control arms, and that's where we're at. So the car is locked, parking brake is set, trailer is connected. I'm gonna grab the rest of my crap here, and away we go. Topped off a little bit more. I want to see 100% out of that thing. Let's get rolling. All right, my top off brought us up to 100%. And that still hasn't registered 100%, but I trust the Banks iDash more than I trust the Dash. If Banks can give you a percentage like this, why can't the Dash, is what I'm wondering. But anyway, let's get on the road. We're leaving Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and away we go. We've got 394 miles to drive, 100% Def level. Fuel tank is 100% as well because we just filled that up. And range is 445 miles. We will stop and get fuel one more time at some point, I'm sure. Goodbye, Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Trans temp just now getting up to the 198 mark, which means the valve should open, which I believe it just did right there. Now we're down to 196 with all the shutters removed. Hoping to see this go down to 190 like it did on our road trip out here. Yep, and there we see the dip down to 194, so it is dropping. So the thermostat has opened and we have trans fluid flowing through the radiator or the trans cooler and cooling off. So hopefully this means 190s from here on out. Climbing up a pretty decent grade right now. This is roughly where we're at. If you're familiar with the area, we're almost done with it. I know I came in here late, but EGTs are in check. We have not touched 1,000. We just touched 1,000 and now we're 1,100, so we're actually getting pretty hot now. I'm on cruise control, so it is ready to boogie. You can see 6 gear, no problem, 3,000 RPMs. Has all the power there, making 503 foot-pounds of torque. When it's rated for 495, so we're exceeding 508. We're breaking records. 512, doing 521. Okay, we peaked at 521. That was exciting, but we're up at the top now. We had jets on Thursday. Got some rad helicopters on Monday. Probably can't see them in the video, but I can see them in person, and they're amazing. Hooray! Alright, so we made it to St. George, Utah with our very first def range warning, and we are just ticking down as we continue to go. Showed the map earlier. Here's what the map is reading right now. 286 miles to go, so I think we made it just over 100 miles. We did have to climb up some hills to get out to this area, and right now we are on a moderate steady grade, and so we are just ticking down with the def. Our def level is 95-96%, so after losing 4 to 5% of our def, the system is freaking out. So let's see how many miles we have gone. I don't know, I kind of like that this is just ticking down. I wonder how low it's going to go, but I have to clear the screen like this. Let's scroll down to see how many miles we've gone on this trip, because we have not stopped yet. Def level bars have not even changed. 110 miles we've gone, and it gives us a 1,000-mile warning. We'll continue on and see what it does. Climbing up this grade for quite a while, dodging the fast lane slow people. We got our temps climbing right there. We just hit 124. We're right at the verge of where it starts pull power. 313 degrees inlet, 126 at the intake manifold. Definitely high temps coming in. Charger cooler doing work. Making sure we stay nice and cool. Alright, we are downshifting like crazy to get up this hill. We're in 5th gear. Charger cooler temps, just over 300. Inlet coming out, cooled off by nearly 200 degrees. This thing is humming up this hill. I do have it on cruise control. Speed limit is 80. Yes, we do have people flying past us at our 75 mile an hour rate. But look at that DPF soot level. All those EGTs right there just cooking off all the soot inside the DPF. And the DPF regen percent is still going to climb because it's based on calculations of how much fuel used and miles that you've driven. But we just cleaned the def, or the DPF right there. With the multiple hills we've been climbing up, so that's fantastic. That's always good for overall exhaust emissions. Components is the high heat, so that's why they say you should not do short trips, but short trips are only a couple mile trips where nothing can get up to temperature. So that's proof right there that the high temperatures do help clean everything out, and there's nothing wrong with some high temps here and there. Gotta drive it hard every once in a while. Stopping for, we're gonna fill this up so that way we're good to go for the rest of the trip. We're gonna let this cool down while we take a look at how much we drove this time. So def fluid showing 1 bar down. Def level 88%. We're not gonna touch the def at all. So we drove 178.2 miles, averaging 13.2 miles per gallon. And we have roughly 216 left to go. However, we got to stop to drop off the trailer and pull the car off, so it's going to actually be less. So these miles are going to change next time we get in the truck. All right, receipt from our fill up right now, 4.089 per gallon, 15.579 gallons. Let's fire this up, see if we get our def warning on here and how many miles it says we have. So far, no warning. All right, I think we are safe right now. It's happy with the 87%, which makes no sense. Super tight turn to get onto this. So let's just go. Let's hammer down. That's foot to the floor. Slight upgrade, or grade up. That's all, that's everything. Oh, just hit a rock in the road or something. His foot to the floor. Got up to 70 right there. We'll let out. We'll just take 70. Speed limit is 80, but we're not doing that today. Let's talk about these numbers right here. So in the lower right corner of the upper gauge from the Banks iDash, intake air temp is 59 degrees. Outside temp is 60 degrees. So we're pulling in good, clean, fresh air. EGTs are over 900. We're driving into a headwind that is coming at us from the northeast, roughly. And so now you can see charge air cooler temp 1 is at 311. Now what that is EGT temps are so high that as the turbo is compressing the air, the intake temps into the charge air cooler are actually up to 310 degrees that we're reading right now. As it goes through the charge air cooler, that's the number 2 sensor right there giving us 104 degrees. So that's what it is out, and that's what's going into the intake manifold. So you can see the charge air cooler is doing work as needed. The headwind is really pushing the truck pretty hard. Our fuel mileage is definitely worse coming home than it was driving out there, but that's an explanation of the temps. It's the battle of the 3.0 Duramaxes. Just kidding, that's a 6.6. Mine's a 3.0, and we're going for the pass. Up the grade. 6.6 is struggling. The 3.0 is not. Look at us push him over. It's actually the wind. It's pushing us too. But we got him. We're going for the pole. I gotta put the camera down so he doesn't know we're racing. I'm gonna go to your mirror. Look at that. 6.6 in the mirror. Blown past him, up the grade. Speed limit is 80. Neither of us are doing 80. His temps must be too hot, but not mine. We're gonna get over so that way he knows just who took that first place spot. It's a long grade. I don't recall those here. So anywho, so how's your day? Everything going good? Oh, we're downshifting. Power stroke coming up for the pass. All right, we were no match for that power stroke right there. Just blew our doors off. That Nissan too. We're just cruising right along. EGTs are in check. Charge air cooler cooling all the intake air. Our intake air temperature is less than ambient. Oh, Popo sitting right there. Busted. Still continuing to drive up this grade, which I don't know where we're at, but it's been long. We've been doing this for, I don't know, a while. Trans temp is showing 194. Has not really budged this whole grade. All right, we got some bends coming up. We're approaching the summit of our climb. Actually, I think we turn and then we go up more. We're Shut this down. There's our notification. We have been climbing up another grade. We've got 296 miles of def range, and we are sitting on 73% of def level. So 296 miles remaining, 153 miles. Now remember, I did top this off all the way up to the tippy top. So we are chugging def again, and I don't think it's as bad as the ECM thinks. But yeah, so that's what we're working with here. We'll see how this continues. All right, so we're climbing once again here. Def range 292. EGTs are starting to climb right there. See if this def range changes at all. So far, no change. Very interesting how it chooses when to drop drastically and when it doesn't. There it is. First time I've been hit with the ZR2 scoop, pop-up, whatever it is, glare. You can see it right there. It follows you. I get it. It's the first time. And yes, it does get you right in the face. All right, we got def range 419, so our ending miles is 4292. All right, we are at 70% def level remaining. 418 miles def range is what's showing up on the dash. 4292 is our finishing miles. Let's go ahead and take a look at our, I don't think we improved on these at all. Change to 25, that's 35, so yeah, that hasn't changed. We had a nasty headwind coming in the whole way home, which is surprising that we actually still have 70% def remaining. So we used roughly the same, maybe a smidge more, because we did some regular driving around. But let's go down to total miles driven. And then that's going to say, all right, 963.2 total miles, 16.7 miles per gallon. We'll go ahead and calculate this up. We're going to fill this up right now, and then we'll calculate it and see how close we are to that number.